Welcome to Maine Public News Connect, original news stories from Maine Public Radio, airing weekly in Spanish, French, Portuguese, Somali, and English. I'm your host, Ari Snider. Today is Friday, March 24th, and here are the week's top stories. The Maine Immigrants Rights Coalition opened a new emergency shelter in a gymnasium in Portland for asylum seekers earlier this month, and it immediately reached capacity. More than 70 people are staying at the shelter, mostly families with young children from Angola and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Many of the families say they fled political violence in their home countries, and what they want most of all is safe, stable housing to raise their families. More than 780 asylum seekers have arrived in Portland seeking shelter this year, and city officials are asking the state government for more help finding emergency housing. At the same time, Portland is considering a development plan that could add more than 800 housing units to the Bayside neighborhood. Of those units, 201 would be priced as affordable housing. The rest of the units would be priced at market rates. The developers are also planning more than 28,000 square feet of new commercial space for restaurants and storefronts, as well as a public green space. Charles Mugabe with Catholic Charities said he supports the project because more housing is needed, but hopes construction crews will work with nearby homeless shelters to mitigate the impact on those groups. Leaders of Maine's Indian tribes addressed the state legislature last week, the first time in more than 20 years that the chiefs have given speeches to the state government. The leaders said the state must recognize the full sovereignty of Indian tribes in Maine. That sovereignty is limited by a decades-old law that the chiefs say is hurting their tribes and the state as a whole. A recent report from Harvard University found that in recent decades, incomes from tribal members across the country have grown by more than 70%, but only by 9% in Maine. The report blames the economic disparity on the Maine Indian Claims Settlement Act because it often prevents tribes in Maine from benefiting from changes in federal law that apply to the 570 other federally recognized tribes across the country. Last week, a few dozen members of immigrant communities in Portland attended an introductory class on home heating and insulation science. The class was part of a workforce development program run by the group Project Home, which helps new immigrants find housing and begin restarting their lives in Maine. The class discussed many of the technologies used to heat and cool homes in Maine, and was partly funded by the state government as part of an effort to attract more people to careers in renewable energy. Victoria Morales, who runs Project Home, said the group hopes to offer more training programs soon, possibly including a commercial truck driving course. This has been Maine Public News Connect. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Maine Public News Connect partners with wonderful groups across Maine committed to providing access to important news and information for all. We'd especially like to recognize the Maine Immigrants Rights Coalition, PresentMaine, the Congolese and Angolan communities of Maine, Amjambo Africa, Catholic Charities of Maine, the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center, Portland Adult Education, the Portland Office of Economic Opportunity, ProsperityME, the Maine Health Access Foundation, and the Maine Humanities Council for their support and efforts. Maine Public News Connect is made possible by individual sponsors, businesses, and foundations from across Maine, and especially by Coastal Enterprises, Seaport Credit Union, Hannaford Supermarkets, IDEX, Koo and Patricia Ewan, Maine Health Access Foundation, Maine State Housing Authority, and the Sam L. Cohen Foundation. Thank you for your significant support. Maine Public News Connect is made possible by Koo and Patricia Ewan, committed to bridging cultural differences in our communities.
Juntos. Ensemble.
Warajir.
Junto.
Seaport Credit Union. Together.
At Maine Housing, we know an affordable home is key. Our First Home Loan program offers Mainers low interest rates and down payment assistance on multi-unit properties. Learn more at mainehousing.org.
Hannaford Supermarkets, celebrating the diversity of its employees, customers, and communities, and committed to fostering a welcoming environment. Together, they're greater than groceries. Learn more at hannaford.com.
If you would like to support this project, please contact Corey Morrissey at 207-232-0255. 941.